Namaste student, welcome to the online classes from Sri Vidyaniketan Public School. Okay, today in chemistry, that is acid, bases and salts, we are going to discuss how strong acid or base. So we are going to discuss the strength of acid or strength of the base. Until now we discussed about the indicator. As you know, indicator is used to differentiate which is an acid or which is an base. By using the indicator, different type of indicators, synthetic indicator or natural indicator, we are going to identify which are the acid, which compounds or which substance are acid or bases by depending upon the change in the color. Okay, and in last class we discussed about the dilution. As you know, in dilution what happens? Decreasing in the concentration of the solute. Here we are going to do the dilution of acid. As you know, when we are going to do dilution of acid, there will be decreasing in the concentration of H plus ion, that is hydronium ion. Similarly, when you are going to do the dilution for the bases, there will be decreasing in the OH minus ion concentration. This is about the dilution of acid. What happens? H plus ion concentration is going to decrease. Similarly, when you are going to do dilution for the bases, there will be a decreasing in the concentration of OH minus ions. Okay, so now you understood that what do you mean by the dilution of acid or bases. Generally, there will be a decreasing in the concentration of hydronium, or else we can say hydroxyl ion. Okay, now I want to know which acid is a strong, which acid is a weak, or else which is a strong base or weak base. Okay, to identify that, we can use the one more indicator called as a universal indicator. Remember, universal indicator will be used to determine the weak acid, strong acid, similarly strong base and the weak base. So what does mean by the universal indicator? It is a mixture of several indicators. There will be several indicators in the form of mixture. So what happens? It will be show the different color depending upon the hydronium ion concentration. It will be, suppose if there will be a more number of H plus ion concentration, then if it is more number of H plus ion concentration, then this universal indicator is there, no? It is going to show the red color. Similarly, if the solution contain equal number of H plus ions as well as OH minus ion, then this indicator will shows the green color. When number of H plus ions is equal to the number of OH minus ions. Similarly, suppose more number of OH minus ions are there, more and more hydroxyl ions are there, then this universal indicator will show the blue color. Okay, so in this way we can use the universal indicator to determine the strong acid, moderate acid, weak acid, neutral solution, similarly mild base, moderate base and strong base. Why? Because in that condition, depending upon the H plus ion concentration, this universal indicator will show the various colors, different colors. By seeing the different colors, we are going to use to identify which are the strong, weak, moderate, mild acid and bases. Like universal indicator, we can use pH scale also to identify the weak and strong acid and bases. Remember, generally pH scale will ranges between the pH of 0 to pH of 14. Before going to the pH scale, just we will study what does mean by the pH. So pH means nothing but power of H plus ion concentration. They given the formula negative log of H plus ion concentration. As you know, if it is an acid, there will be more number of H plus ions, and similarly if it is base, more number of OH minus ions will be there. Generally, remember, the concentration of H plus ions will be inversely proportional. Concentration of H plus ion will be inversely proportional to the pH. It means if pH is very less, there will be a more H plus ion concentration. This term you should keep in mind. Okay. Generally, pH scale is going to lies between the 0 to 14 Okay, and remember this 0 for the strong acid, pH value will be 0 for the strong acid like HCl, like H2, SO4. It is going to decreases and if you taken the weak acid. 0 for the strong acid, okay, and 7 for the neutral solution. If an pH is 7 means that given solution is nothing but neutral. If pH is 14, it will be for the strong bases. Strong bases, remember. Okay, so pH is 0 means it is an given solution is strong acid. pH is 7 means given solution is neutral. Strong base means pH will be 14. This is about the pH. Actually, what happens? Why 0 for the strong acid? In the sense, generally they given the diagram in your textbook, please go through it. This is an 0, this is an 7 and this is an 14. Here this portion is this portion represent the H plus ion concentration and this portion is represent the OH ion concentration. Remember, in this area H plus ion concentration will be maximum, then pH is equal to 0. As we know already, pH and H plus ion concentration will be always inversely proportional. Here number of H plus ion in this area will be more, that means pH will be very less. Similarly, in this area number of H plus ions will be very less, hence pH will be maximum at range. This is about the pH scale. Remember, pH scale will be lies the range of 0 to 14, 0 for the strong acid, 7 for the neutral and 14 for the strong base. Suppose compound have a pH of 5, pH of 5, where it lies? It lies below the 7. It means the given solution is an acid. Suppose pH is 5.6, again it is an less than 7 is equal to, again it is an acid. Suppose pH is 9, pH is 9 will be more than 7, then it will be realized here it is comes under the base. If you taken pH of NaOH, pH of NaOH is nearly 14, it means nothing but it is a strong base. So in this way we can measure the which is the strong base, which is a weak base, strong acid, weak acid depending upon the pH. Okay, pH is 0, strong acid. pH is in between 0 to 7 means it is belongs to acid. Again depending upon that pH we are going to decide here. Suppose pH is 3.5, it is an moderate acid. Okay, suppose pH is nearly 6.5, it is an weak acid. Similarly 7.1, it is an mild base. Suppose pH is 10.5, it is an moderate base. Similarly pH is 14, then it is a strong base. In this way we are going to use the pH scale. So in this pH scale, this pH means nothing but the potential of H plus ion concentration. Okay, how the H plus ion are, how much they are in the given solution. If it is more number of H plus ions are there, then pH will be very less, or else we can say it is an 0. So as we know, strong acid can be produced more number of H plus ions. More number of H plus ions means pH will be minimum, that is nothing but strong acid. As you know, weak acid can produce only less than the 33% of H plus ions concentration. That's why they comes under the weak acids. Okay, this is about the pH. So generally, plant and animals are there, no? They are going to survive their life in between the narrow range of pH, that is 7 to 7.8. So what happens? Suppose this pH is going to decrease. As you know, I think everyone know about the acid rain. Just for the glance I am saying here, we know that when you are going to call acid rain, in the sense if the rainwater have a pH is less than 5.6, the pH of rainwater is, if it is less than 5.6, then it is said to be an acid rain. You know already there are different gases are there. Because of air pollution, we can get more, we can see the more number of gases which are liberated or released by the different kind of process, like because of industrialization, because of exhaust of the different type of vehicle, that is because of automobiles. So as you know, when the carbon dioxide is produced more in a more quantity in the atmosphere, it is reacting with an rainwater, that is H2O. Both are going to react and they are going to form a acid called as H2CO3, which is nothing but carbonic acid, which is nothing but carbonic acid. Carbonic acid. Remember, this carbonic acid is a weak acid. Then it is not going to affect, no. Then why we should bother about the acid rain? Generally, quantity of carbon dioxide is more in the rainwater, then the pH will be going to decreases less than the 5.6. In that cases, as you know, pH is going to decreases to 5.6 or below 5.6. What happens? H plus ion concentration is going to increases. If more amount of H plus ions will be, then effect will be more as an acid. This will be in that condition when rainwater is going to become acid rain. When rainwater is converted into an rainwater is there, no? If the rainwater become an acid, it will be reaches the water bodies. Reaches the water bodies. So in that condition, I mean in the below 5.6, whatever the aquatic animals are there, aquatic plants are there, they cannot be survive in the more acidic condition. I mean below the pH level of 5.6. Why? Because it is act as a strong acids. Why? Because more and more carbon dioxide added to the atmosphere, more and more carbon dioxide will be treated with an rainwater. That rainwater become a acid rain. Slowly that acid rain, I mean rainwater is going to reaches the water bodies, and that water of a different like pond, river water is there, no, it is going to become more and more acidic in nature. Then pH is going to decreases. As we know, plant and animal can be survive with a pH of 7 to 7.8, which is on mild basis. This is a condition where animal and plant can be survive. In this condition, they are not able to survive. That's why what we should do? We should reduce the production of carbon dioxide because of industrialization or vehicle exhaust, because of automobiles. Similarly, like carbon dioxide, we know there will be an sulfur dioxide which is going to react with an again rainwater. It is going to form a H2SO3. This is an sulfurous acid. Similarly, if you take a nitrogen oxides, nitrogen monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, nitrous oxide, they will form the acid rain, and they are going to form HNO3, or sometimes they are going to form HNO2 also. Nitric acid or nitrous acid, again which can be create an acid rain. Remember, this is an effect of the acid rain. Okay, that's why pH should be in between the 7 to 7.8 for the normal survival of an plant and animals. Okay. So next one, effect of pH on the soil. Generally, you know, soil should be almost all neutral, or it may be mild acidic or mild basic. Sometimes what happens, because of more usage of fertilizers, soil is going to become more acidic. What happens? It is going to become more acidic, or sometimes it is going to become more basic. So when the soil is acidic, it means that the pH of soil should be less than 7. Similarly, when soil is going to become more and more basic, the pH of soil will be greater than 7. So how we are going to determine the pH of soil? Just we can take a 2 to 3 gram of soil, and we can add a water for that. You should make a fine powder, remember. Then after we should get a solution. When you are going to filter this solution, we will get a filtrate. Just by using the pH indicator, or else we can say universal indicator, we can identify the pH of particular soil. Suppose if it is an more acidic, after experiment, suppose we got the result that the given soil is more acidic. Soil is more acidic. So what we can do? We can add calcium oxide, that is quicklime, and we can neutralize the soil. So what we can do? We can add a basic substance. In this process, neutralization reaction is going to occur. Similarly, by the result of soil analysis, if you got given given soil is more basic in nature, then what we can do, we can add the organic manure, okay. So organic manure, as you know, it is an more acidic in nature. So what happens, we can neutralize this basic soil into again neutral soil. In this way we can treat the soil to make it as a neutral, okay. This is about the soil treatment. So now we are going to discuss pH in digestive system. So as you know, sometimes we are going to get a stomach pain just because of lack of food. Actually, when you are not going to eat properly, I mean in a proper time, what happens actually? Generally, regularly there will be an secretion of, I mean releasing of HCl will be there by the stomach. For regular intervals of time, there will be an releasing of HCl from our stomach, in our stomach. So what happens, generally if you are going to eat a food, it will be used to decompose the food, then it will be utilized. In this process nothing is going to happen. Why? Because whatever the acid is produced in our stomach, it is utilized for the decomposition of food, okay. Sometimes when we are not going to eat the food, in time, what happens, this acid is going to become excess amount, I mean there will be more amount of HCl in our stomach when we are not going to eat in time, I mean in a regular interval of time. In the time there will be production of more amount of HCl in our stomach, which can causes the pain, stomach pain or stomach ache will be there, okay. To avoid that, what we can do, we can use milk of magnesia. This is an HCl. When you are going to add a milk of magnesia, that is MgOH taken twice, both are going to react and they will form the magnesium chloride and the water. So if you got the stomach pain, it is because of liberation of, I mean secretion of more amount of HCl, which is because of lack of food, which can create the pain, okay. To avoid that, to neutralize that acid, that excess amount of acid, we can use the milk of magnesia as a remedy. In this way we can neutralize the excess amount of HCl and we can avoid the stomach pain, okay. Milk of magnesia formula is MgOH taken twice, okay. So now we are going to discuss about the tooth decay. So when the tooth decay is going to occur, in the sense, generally we are going to heat a food. When you are going to heat the food, after sometimes what happens, there will be in the food, we know that in the food we have a sugar, some other material, fats will be there. So the sugar can be produced the organic acids in our mouth after some time of an consuming of. When you are going to consume the food, after some time what happens, whatever the sugar is present in our food, it is going to produce the organic acid. Organic acids are there. As we know, if it is an acid, there will be an decreasing in the pH in our mouth. So what happens, there will be an creation of acidic condition. Acidic condition is going to create in our mouth, okay. In this acidic condition, the teeth is made up of calcium phosphate. Tooth is made up of calcium phosphate. This is undergoing the decaying process. It undergo the decomposition or else decaying process, degradation process. It undergo the degradation process. So that's why what we should do, we should use the toothpaste. After the consumption of food. When you are going to consume the food, we should go for the brushing of our teeth. If you are not going to do, what happens, there will be production of organic acid which can cause the decay of our teeth. To avoid that, we can use the toothpaste which is produces the bases which can increases the pH or else which can be neutralize this decaying or decomposition process. That's why we should use the toothpaste after the eating process, okay. So now last point in this one, self defense of animal or plant. self defense of animal or plant. You know about the honeybee. You know about the honeybee. Okay, when the honeybee is going to bite for some person, or else when honeybee is going to bite us, it is going to produce the acid. It is going to produce the acid which is called as methanoic acid. Methanoic acid. Hence, what happens? There will be an irritation for us, our skin. So, honeybee when the honeybee is going to bite, no, it is going to produce the methanoic acid which causes the irritation, or we can say as itching. In this way, honeybee or else ant or different type of animals are going to protect themselves by biting others, by biting human being or else other thing, and they are going to produce the different type of acids which can create the itching. Similarly, there will be plant called as nettle plant. Nettle plant. Okay, this nettle plant is it contains some small pores, or else we can say hairs. When you are going to touch them, they can produce here acid. They are also going to produce the acid, and which can cause us again the irritation or else itching, we can say. So, in this way, even though the animals as well as the plants are going to protect themselves, they can defend to the others by producing the acids. So, how we can neutralize when the honeybee or other thing is going to bite? So, we can use this is going to produce the acid, no? So, we can take the baking soda. We can take an baking soda. Okay, this baking soda is nothing but base which can neutralize the effect of an acid, which is produced by the animals like honeybee or else ant. So, in this way, by rubbing, just by taking baking soda, and we can rub wherever that animal, wherever the problem is there, where it is bited, no, in that places we can keep just by taking the baking soda, by rubbing the area. Okay, this is about the importance of pH in our daily life. Okay, thank you for watching.